Gen Y faces when working with baby boomers and Gen X generations? How do they work together?
I think one challenge is which every younger generation is going to face with an older generation. And I grew up in India. I came here as an immigrant, so I watch all these generations from I would say an emotionally healthy distance, because I don't belong to either of these. But one thing that the younger generation always going to face is people who've been there longer. They think the younger people have a sense of entitlement. And that has not changed. I worked with the seniors, the people who were ahead of the boomers. I worked with the boomers, the X's and the Y's. So this is where each generation who's before wants the younger generation to prove, earn their keep, that's what they call it. So that is the same. That will not change. The ones that come after Y are going to face the same thing. When Gen Ys are managers, they will think that the younger people have a sense of entitlement and they need to earn their keep. I always think of the Bob Dylan song. He sang about the generation, and this was the baby boomers calling their older generation squares. I think it's probably too much of an older information for most people, but they call their older generation square, and we're here a bunch of people calling boomers square. So it's it's just a time, that's the only difference. One thing that is unique about the Gen Ys, and I absolutely love about them, is they have a sense of balance. Generation X's, I'm at the cusp of X and Y, and we've always talked about this life balance, but we never demanded it. Gen Ys think a job is not something that's only going to pay your bills; it has to satisfy your soul. And I think that's where the Gen Ys, they face an uphill task in the industry, especially where the management is not from their generation. Technology, you're okay because people understand that you're engineering. The typical, if you work for the government, everybody thinks the Gen Ys are asking for too much. So that's what I find is the challenge. And I'm actually completely solidly on the side of Gen Y on this one, that you do need to have a life balance, and it's a good thing to ask for, and more power to them.
It's so funny when you say that, because I work for Lululemon, and the company has been started in 1998, and essentially has been created by Gen Ys. And that work-life balance is such a strong foundation in the company. So you see the influence of Gen Ys becoming managers and becoming those leaders in business. And it's a hugely positive thing to have happen. So yeah, very well said.
One quick thing to add to that is, based on, and people have different values, whether you're whatever generation that you're in, and I think we all need to appreciate those values, because to your point about, and I think it's absolutely correct, with Gen Y, they think that, there's that sense of balance, whereas the older generation might have said, you know what, no, you've got to sacrifice, this is just the way, you've got to work hard and just go hard at it. And I thought, you know what, maybe I had some, lessons about how that balance is, and that it's okay to have that balance, like you say, to live that passion and still have a great job. That's maybe some things we can all learn, and I think, again, appreciate those differences.
Just building on that question, in terms of some of the challenges between Gen Y and Gen X, I think that building off of what you've mentioned, a lot of the Gen X managers sometimes feel a sense of entitlement around Gen Y, but also that Gen Y wants everything so much faster. They want raises faster, they want promotions faster, and I do see that happening, but I think that at the core of that, what that means is just really energetic people that want to do great things and are becoming more and more introspective about what they want to do and what they want to accomplish. I think that, so it comes from a good place. However, I think that one of the important things to keep in mind is is the sense of time and the perspective of time. When we work and when we get jobs, you can't do it all, you can't get it all in your 20s, because you need to have that formative education and experience of what it's like working in different environments, figuring out what you're passionate about, what your groove actually is, and really embrace that time to figure out what you want out of life and out of a work-life balance, and then build up for that, because you've got 20, 30, 40 years. As the lifespans get older, retirement age is no longer realistically 55 or 65. You want to find something that you're really passionate about. So don't be super stoked to get right to the end line within your 20s. You've got your 30s and your 40s to build mastery and to build off the experience that you get in your 20s. I think that's important as well.
have talked about some of the strengths of Gen Y. I'm curious, what do you think managers and organizations can do to support those strengths and having Gen Ys come into the workforce and develop into leaders?
I have something really, something I see a lot in the younger generation that is so wonderful. And I actually think this is within younger generation right up to whatever age you are. What I'm starting to see is people who are incredibly passionate and they want to attach themselves to something that has purpose, something that's larger than themselves, something that's larger than themselves, something that they can contribute to and feel proud of that they're pushing forward. I don't know whether it's just the environment that I'm in, but people don't want to check in at 9 and check out at 5. They want to know that what they're contributing to has meaning. And I think that having a purposeful driven career is really important, and managers, I think, can really tap into that, where they start looking at what they're doing in their corporation, start having values that embody their organization, and really communicating that throughout their workforce by saying, this is our noble purpose. This is what we're working towards. Lululemon does a great job of values and having and building out that culture. Hootsuite actually does a really great job at this as well, in terms of really identifying what we call our noble purpose, being very clear about what our vision and our mission is within our organization, and I think that really resonates with people. And then when you can attach yourself to a purpose, it doesn't feel like work anymore, because you know that what you're driving towards, it means more than yourself, and you're willing to go the extra distance. So I think that that's another thing that managers, and in whatever position they might be or whatever age, they can tap into as well.
For me, I think I echo a lot of what you're saying. Like, transparency is super key, but also I think managers should try to find out what it is that the people that are under them are good at in Gen Y. Like, for me, it's not just I'm really good at writing and telling stories, but I also have a passion for people. So is there something else that you can develop that'll help the company and also keep this person really interested in staying with the company? So, for example, for me, we have an internal committee that's dedicated to helping the culture, and it's not led by managers, it's led by different people within our organization who come from all different backgrounds, all different ages, and are representative of who are the people in this company. And to me, getting to tell the story of our company in a different way, not just to clients and to customers through marketing stuff, but actually telling, like, this is a fun place to work, and making it really a fun place to work that I want to be at every day. I think that is what keeps me there, and I think my manager personally has done a really good job of nurturing that in me and making it okay to spend time doing that, as opposed to the thing that I have actually been hired for, which I do, but I get to do this, which is awesome.
Phoebe, when you and I were talking before at the table, you were saying that when you started Magnolia, you alone working, and now you have 7 people working for you. Are any of them Gen Ys, and how have you fostered them?
Yeah, there's 8 of us on the team, and 3 of us are the older generation, I'll say, and then the other ones are definitely the Gen Y. And to your point, Kara, I think it's mentorship is important. I think, because how do you harness all this energy, all this talent, these intangibles, I call it, and you basically have to look at some kind of program where you are actively, proactively meeting them, setting goals, and really it's an investment if you think about it. When people come and you join your company, they're investing their time, their talent, all that the brains that they've given, that they've learned from school, and it's my investment back to them by obviously not just paying for their salaries, but also my time and experience. So it's a two-way street. So I try and have a culture, an environment where we are very open with each other, with our goals and expectations, and it's important to set those clear expectations so both parties aren't, disappointed. And I often say when people sit down and for the first few days, I always say, you know what, this is not going to be obviously your first job, it's not going to be your last job. So while you're here, let's make it worthwhile for all parties.